Let's go, mother lickers.
What are you tweeting, dude?
It's time for the Wooly Bully Power Rankings, the definitive best power rankings known to mankind. This is it. This is the end-all, be-all. Somebody else puts out a list, it's crap.
Did you put out a tweet?
No, I didn't. I'm suffering from vertigo. Zero. All right, putting out a tweet right now. Damn it, zero. I'm going to have to put out a tweet right now again.
So how do you think your last week's Wooly Bully Power Rankings compared to this week's? Was there a decent amount of movement? Do you feel ashamed for who you had in the top few spots comparatively with this week? Like, where are you at from that standpoint?
Zero ashamed ever when it comes to this. This is the NFL.
Well said.
There's a ton of movement that's going to happen. But honestly, the top 10's relatively the same. Some of these teams have moved up a smidgen. Some of them have dropped a smidgen. Now, there is one team that's moved quite a bit. But
the Patriots of New England?
No, this is the Colts. Dude.
I have had the Patriots, I will say, in the top 10 the last 2 weeks. But they have moved up considerably, even further than just like 10 and 8. They are now they're getting close to that top 5.
All right, so we have the 817 giving you the tier 1 teams. Titans 1, Cowboys 2, Packers 3. Cardinals 4, Patriots 5, Bills 7. Bills, geez, the way they wrote it was confusing. I give up. The 903, Titans 1, Packers 2, Ravens 3 after they got railed by the Dolphins on Thursday night. Cowboys 4, Bucs 5.
What? Okay. Interesting. Some of those, and look, the 3, I like what you have there. I do. The ordering, I might not. But I like generally what you're thinking with those 3. 877-881-1053. 702, I don't care about any with the Cowboys. The Cowboys, number 1, guys, from the 702. All right, so.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're, by the way, Zero, you haven't asked your usual question.
No, I mentioned, it said the Colts moved up.
They did. They're at 15 now.
Oh, they moved up. I love it.
They actually make an appearance.
I told you guys. They're making an appearance this week.
Their run game is...
Jonathan Taylor's a bad mofo.
Sensational.
He's
sensational.
good.
They're up to 15. They are. They actually leapfrogged the bungholes of Cincinnati, who are at 16.
You all mocked me.
I got the Raiders at 14, Chargers at 13, Steelers at 12, Saints at 11. If only they had a quarterback, they'd be pretty good. All right. At number 10, I've got the Chiefs of Kansas City at 6-4. That's the Cowboys' opponent. They certainly have an opportunity to move up from 10, but this is the first time probably since the first couple of weeks of the season that they've made it back into the top 10. They are playing considerably better football. They're coming off their best performance of the season. The defense is not looking like straight ass, my dude. And maybe, just maybe, that was what that offense needed to get jump-started and be the juggernaut that we know of them to be. I just hope that the Cowboys can contain them to at least get that victory this weekend against Arrowhead.
Yeah, man. I am like, this is, if you told me I could only watch one regular season game this year, it would be this Sunday's Cowboys-Chiefs game. Like, I am fired up for it. And unless the Cowboys get waxed, even if they lose the game, like if it's a close game like this is going to be it's going to be a fun 3 hours of absolute, just two great teams. I think you're looking at two great teams clashing together, and I am fired up, dude.
I am too, man. I'm really looking forward to this game. I really wanted to go to this one so bad, but the ticket prices are just astronomical. They are just through the bleeping roof.
And it wouldn't have mattered if it was a home or road game.
No.
This is going to be a pricey ticket for sure.
Number 9, I do have the Ravens at 6-3. They slid a couple of spots after their loss to the Dolphins. They're still one of those teams where you know they're going to be hanging around and in the playoffs at the end of the season. Defensively, they really haven't been as good this year as I anticipated. Now, they have been banged up in the secondary, but Lamar Jackson and that offense were just disgusting on Thursday night, and they've got to get that figured out. Especially, the passing game is something that I think has really been good this year for the Ravens, especially Lamar taking that next step, but it was just off. I mean, with Sammy Watkins getting back, there was just no rapport with him and Lamar Jackson. Even Hollywood Brown and him didn't have that connection. They've got to figure that out, but I still think the Ravens are a top 10 football team. I've got them at 9.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think the Dolphins laid out a blueprint. The problem is the Dolphins have a very, one, they have Brian Flores, who's a great defensive mind, but two, they have the personnel to do what they did, where they're blitzing all sorts of DBs, and like they got the DBs who can cover on the back end one-on-one. I don't know that most teams are going to be able to duplicate that. And, since Lamar Jackson's been in the league, the Ravens have done mostly just dominate people in the regular season.
Right. At number 8, I've got the Bucs of Tampa Bay at 6-3. Now, they have lost back-to-back games. They haven't looked good doing it, but I just think that they would find a way to just get it done at the end of the year here. I don't anticipate them losing back-to-back games again the rest of the way. I think Tom Brady is going to be very angry and probably unload all of that anger on the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. It's not going to be pretty. And they're banged up offensively, not having Gronk, not having Antonio Brown, who was arguably their best receiver until he got hurt. It certainly affected the way that offense is playing. And it's one of those things where you don't want to downgrade Tampa Bay too much because big picture-wise, I still think they're going to be one of the better teams in the NFC and one of the teams that you're fearing if you have to see them in the playoffs. So right now, they're not playing like a top 5 team by any means, but I'm not going to knock them out of the top 10 because they've had 2 bad weeks.
Yeah, I think you're right. Monday Night Football, it's going to be a bludgeoning of the Giants.
Number 7, I've got the Rams at 7-3. They also have had 2 really bad games. And I feel the same way about the Rams. Now, they have a little bit more to figure out. With the addition of Odell Beckham Jr., it was tough. He's thrown in there. I think before the game, they're talking about Matthew Stafford and him having thrown 2 live-action passes together. So they're going to need some time to gel. Defensively is where I'm a little bit concerned with the Rams. I don't know what's happened with them, but the Niners took them to the woodshed. I still believe Sean McVay and the Rams are going to figure it out, but this is a team that I had in my top 3 for the majority of the season. They're down to 7. They've definitely taken a fall. They have some work to do to get back into the top 5.
What George Kittle did to Von Miller on Monday night from a blocking standpoint is like it would be illegal in most countries. It was an utter domination. And I think the Robert Woods loss is pretty big for that offense,
huge.
too. Like,
he can do a lot for them. And they can move him around anywhere, play him anywhere.
And they were fortunate that they did get OBJ, and they'll probably end up figuring that out. But, like, what Robert Woods provides for that offense, and he's been there for a long time. Like, he's a unique piece to their offense that is now not going to be there. I think it is going to take some time for them to adjust without him, and then inserting OBJ. It could take some time.
6, I've got the Patriots at 6-4, and they've been steadily climbing up these Willy Willy power rankings every week. They were at 10. I think last week they were at 8. Now they're up at 6. They just play better and better every week. Mac Jones is getting better and better every week. Defensively, you know what you're going to get. They're well coached. The secondary is looking great.
Dude, Matthew Judon.
He needs to be in consideration for Defensive Player of the Year.
Agreed.
He's been outstanding, but the way they're running the football is also brilliant, and they get Damian Harris back this week. The Patriots, in an AFC that's wide open, it is crazy, but they're certainly a contender again.
I'm with you 100%. That is not a team anybody is going to want to see. They could very easily win that division. 2 more games against the Bills that will be for the division. They are frightening right now.
At number 5, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills.
I've got the Bills of Buffalo at 6-3. They just absolutely spanked the Jets as they should. They bounced back nicely after the disgusting defeat to Jacksonville. And, Buffalo's one of those teams where they, outside of the Jacksonville loss, they have taken advantage against the weak teams. We haven't seen them play brilliant against the, above 500 teams like we want to. And they've got a team in Indianapolis that's running the football really well this week that's 5-5. Excited to see how Buffalo plays, but I still think them and Tennessee right now are the 2 best teams in the AFC, and that's probably what I'd anticipate to be the AFC Championship matchup if the season were to end today, is Buffalo there in Tennessee.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit more lukewarm at this point because of what New England's doing. Like those Bills-Patriots games, 2 more to end the season, those are going to be outstanding.
At number 4, I've got the Cardinals at 8-2 as they had their loss this week. Now, it's tough because obviously they didn't have DeAndre Hopkins, they didn't have Kyler Murray. So when they have those two, they've only lost to Green Bay, and it was due to the interception at the end of the game. They could have come back and won it. I still think the Cardinals are one of the top 5 teams in the NFL, but they did get spanked around pretty good by the Carolina Panthers, even with a backup quarterback in Colt McCoy. But Colt McCoy was able to get them a win the week before. That's a tough one to judge right there. I just expected a better overall team performance against a Carolina team that had come in playing really poor football. I know they got an emotional lift with Cam Newton, but that was a dud by Arizona. I had to dock them a little bit, moving them down to number 4.
Ooh, you docked them.
I did.
Were they consenting?
They did not respond, so I just kind of said, all right, we're going to move you down to 4.
An unresponsive docking situation.
Here's the top 3. At number 3, I've got the Tennessee Titans at 8-2. The Titans are good, man, but they are also just beating teams by the skin of their teeth. They're just getting by, man, by the hair on their chins. It's not necessarily impressive, but a win's a win, okay? Defensively, they are way above where they were last year, and they also seem to be improving week in and week out. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this running game. They're kind of going with the committee approach. I dig it. And they jumped up big against New Orleans, then let New Orleans come back into that football game. But the Titans' resume speaks for itself. They deserve to be in the top 3.
Agreed.
At number 2, I have the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, what?
At 7-2.
F.
Yep, I've got the Cowboys at 7-2. I had the Cowboys at number 1 a couple of weeks ago. And the Cowboys at number 2, for me, it's one of those things where I had them at 1, and then they came back and just got face-stomped by the Broncos. So a little bit of this is I'm not trying to put out a jinxie jinx here. So I'm going to keep them comfortably at 2, which is very high, very respectable. I think they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL, and they looked fantastic. This is a big one this week. All right, this is a big one against Kansas City. But number 1, I've got the Green Bay Packers at 8-2. They just shut out the Seattle Seahawks with Russell Wilson, who I get it. Did Russ play great? No, but Russell Wilson has never been shut out in his entire career. That's something you can't just overlook. Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing his best. He came back from COVID, and we're Cowboy fans. We know what has happened against Aaron Rodgers in the past. Come on now, all right? We've got to kind of respect that a little bit. Like, if we have to play Aaron Rodgers again, I'm a little bit nervous. Although we do have the Mike McCarthy factor. You saw how they rallied the troops to knock off the Falcons for Dan Quinn. I think hopefully it'd be a similar deal with Mike McCarthy. But I have the Packers at 1. They have defeated Arizona. Maybe the resume is just a little bit better right now than what the Cowboys have done. And they're coming off a shutout. The defense is getting better. But I think the Packers and the Cowboys are the 2 best teams in the NFL at this point.
Woo! McCarthy versus Rodgers in the NFC Championship game. You heard it here
Wouldn't that be something? Yep, there it is. The Wooly Bully NFL Power Rankings.